They bogus as hell. They ain't even get a man a chance though. Like he ain't have a chance to run. Like then his daughter was standing right there, like seeing the whole everything.
That man was a Chicago rapper, out with his little girl while she worked on a school project. By the end of that night, he was gone, shot down on the sidewalk right in front of her. And the streets say it all came back to something you would never believe. 2 moments tell you exactly how cold this whole thing got. This is the man whose missing watches the streets blame for everything, looking at a video of that same father walking his kids around and finding it funny.
It was like a viral video of THFTP. He was walking with his kids, and that shit went, you know what I'm saying?
Your ass funny as hell, bro. You fried.
And this is that same man putting a number on it, like a whole life out here is worth less than what sits on your wrist.
2 watches got stole. About 5 lives got took.
So how does a missing watch turn into a father bleeding out in front of his own daughter? Let me take you all the way back and walk you through it real slow, because the closer you look, the worse it gets. The man on that sidewalk was Terrence Christopher Pearson, but everybody out there knew him as THFTP. He came up on the south side of Chicago around the 46th Street blocks in the low end. And from the way he told it himself, the street life got its hands on him while he was still a shorty, with poverty, drugs, and violence all around him before he was even old enough to understand any of it. What hurts about his story is that he was never slow. He did good in school early on, and he really wanted to be a ball player. But the block pulled a lot harder than the classroom did, and by his freshman year, around 2009, he was already rapping for fun and looking up to Chicago greats like Twista. The cases started piling up, and he ended up dropping out, though he did circle back later and earn his GED. So this was never some kid with no future. This was somebody who had a real shot and watched the neighborhood take most of it away from him. By his teens, he was deep in Trigger Happy Family, the crew they called THF 46, repping 46th and Ellis over in Kenwood, a set that the drill historians say leaned black disciples and was built on neighborhood love more than any one gang nation. And he never liked calling it a gang, because to him it was family before anything else, with the older heads looking out for the young ones coming up behind him. He even said it plain that THF stood for Trigger Happy Family, and that they moved like a real family, built on loyalty and music and block pride more than any rule book. And his own name, TP, stood for Two Pistols. Now this is the part that matters for everything that comes next, because THF was tangled up in one of the longest and bloodiest beefs in the whole drill scene, with a set called 051 Young Money that had been running since these dudes were kids in school. One of TP's own people explained just how far back the bad blood really goes, and it will give you an idea of how deep this stuff runs out there.
That shit I think Zico died 2008, man. That shit been going on. My homie Key locked up for the shit right now.
That is more than 15 years of going back and forth, and by some counts out there, the feud has been tied to dozens of bodies on both sides. Then in 2014, TP poured gas all over it with a single song. He dropped a track called Bus Stop, and it openly clowned the way two rival figures, Tuka and Lil Mark, both got killed standing at bus stops. It's hard to put into words how disrespectful that was seen as, because in this world, laughing at how somebody died is the kind of move that gets paid back in blood. The video went on to pull in over 2.8 million views and became the biggest thing he ever made, but it also put a target on his back that he carried for the next 10 years. And the wild part is that TP seemed to know how this life ends. In one of his last talks before he died, a Chicago commentator who actually knew him remembered warning him about playing with the dead, and TP's answer is the kind of thing that sticks with you once you hear when he said it.
He said, man, everybody gotta die one day, and then he was dead like the next week, man.
So you already see he had an old war chasing him for years. But here's the twist, because the streets do not point to that song as the thing that finally caught up to him. They point to something way pettier than a decade-long beef, and that's what makes this so hard to sit with. Sometime around late 2022, before any of this blew all the way up, a different rapper named Lil Zay Osama got robbed. The story going around is that Zay and his people linked up with some THF members after a video shoot, kicked it with them, got drunk, took off his 2 Richard Mille watches and set them down, then passed out. When he woke up, the watches were gone. There was no real beef between them before that, no smoke at all, just a betrayal that flipped a switch, and from there it spiraled fast, because the way they tell it, Zay and his people went looking for an answer. Some of his guys ended up locked up behind a police chase, and the whole thing turned into a war that never had to happen. Zay has never been quiet about what that one robbery turned into. But before you go thinking TP was the one who ran off with those watches, you need to hear this, because it's the detail that makes the whole thing even uglier.
So it's like, now, is the story unfolding from everybody giving their point of view or whatever? It's like, dude didn't take the watches, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
So he had nothing to do with taking the watches, but we see what happened when he passed away in front of his kids or whatever, like rest in peace to him. That was horrible still.
So if the watch story is true, then TP may have died over something he never touched, all because of who he chose to run with. That's the cruelest thing about this life right there, where the people standing next to you can write a check that your own body has to cash. And cash it he did, on the evening of February 7th, 2024. His young daughter had a school project going about black-owned businesses, and she'd actually interviewed the owner of TNT Rooftop Restaurant out in the Austin neighborhood for it. So TP brought his family out to show love and support her. He had his girlfriend with him, his daughter, and another young relative. Just a father doing father things on a normal evening. They walked out around 6:40, and that's when a white Nissan rolled up on them. Gunmen jumped out and opened fire straight at TP, and they didn't hold back even a little, with reports describing at least 25 shots fired and more than 20 shell casings left at the scene. He got hit again and again, and when it was over, his little girl's pink poster board and art supplies were scattered across that sidewalk right next to the casings, the blood, and his own wallet and keys.
THFTP, who was ambushed on February the 7th, 2024 with his family. But they ain't shoot his daughters and them. They ain't shoot his girlfriend. They could have killed her too. They could have killed the kids too. But they only killed him, stood over him.
The fact that they stood over him like that tells you this was no random thing, and it wasn't sloppy, because this was a planned hit, and TP was the only one they came for. Nobody else in that family got touched, which somehow makes it even worse, because it means his daughter walked away with her body fine and her mind shattered. He was rushed to Loyola University Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead about an hour later, and the Cook County medical examiner ruled it a homicide from multiple gunshot wounds. What makes it sting even more is that he was right on the edge of something better. People who knew him say he was trying to lock all the way in on the music and provide for his kids, and one well-known Chicago rapper even spoke on how close TP was to a real moment before all this happened.
We had an interview lined up with THFTP right before he passed.
So the police got on the case. Area 4 detectives caught it out of the 15th district, and surveillance footage of the attack even ended up going around online. But here's the frustrating truth that keeps this whole thing open. As of everything we can find publicly, no arrests have been made, and the case is still sitting there unsolved. The men who did this in front of a child are, for right now, still out there walking free. When somebody goes out like that, you would hope the streets would at least show a little respect. Some folks did, but plenty of others ran straight to the internet to take credit and crack jokes. And that reaction alone tells you everything about the world TP was stuck in. On the rival side, a 051 figure named Drilla hopped on a track that a lot of the community read as him claiming a piece of the killing.
Why they call you drills? Cause I really been on the lot. Shooters know the shooters, and the killers know the killers.
That is the cycle in a nutshell. A man gets gunned down in front of his daughter, and instead of silence, you get a verse. And the talking did not stop there either, because Lil Zay himself kept bringing up the watch beef so openly in interviews that even his own side started saying he was talking way too much, with some hinting the body count was not finished. Whether that was real or just street talk, it shows you how little a life weighs once the internet turns a feud into entertainment. Still, not everybody was on that wave, and a few people in the same scene were straight up disgusted, because even out there, doing it in front of the kids is supposed to be a line you do not cross. One rapper broke down exactly why it sat so wrong with him.
Since when we started saying fuck the kids for real, gang? Since when we traumatizing kids, gang? That's life-changing, that's detrimental, like, trauma right there. That's detrimental trauma. Like, oh, my mama, that's trauma that, sure, I can't even get rid of some of the trauma I deal with.
And that same kind of conversation pointed at something a lot bigger than one man. The idea that this keeps happening to fathers in public over and over again. One of them brought up another Chicago name to prove the point.
You just seen Duck get killed out west, downtown, wherever you seen. You gonna go down the street around the corner, look, couple miles, think shit ain't gonna happen to you? You talking about smoking, Tuka? If you know what you out here doing, Cam, don't be outside with your kids, bro. Not walking with your kids, though. I see if you pull up and grab your kids from school or go take your kids outside, you know what I'm saying? But wait, look where you at. You just seen Duck get killed out west, downtown, wherever you seen. You gonna go down the street around the corner, look, couple miles, think shit ain't gonna happen to you? You talking about smoking, Tuka, woo-woo?
That brings us to the part you really need to hear, because TP is not the only father this happened to, not by a long shot. If you want to understand how normal this kind of family tragedy has gotten in this scene, just look at a rapper named Ahuna Stacks, sometimes called 800 Stacks. Only about 4 months after TP got killed, on Father's Day in June of 2024, Ahuna Stacks was shot and killed right in front of his own son.
I heard at least what was 30 shots outside my window. Police are coming right now. Looks like that person who was wearing red was, unfortunately, it doesn't look like they're gonna make it. Oh my goodness. You know, I moved out of the city to get away from this type of stuff. And yet here we are. You can't escape this type of life, unfortunately. I don't know where to go. Oh, Jesus. These people are fighting each other now out here. This is insane. I was just about to leave out of my house, too. once again, about 4 minutes ago, there was a shooting here, drive-by shooting. I did not see the vehicle. All I know is that the vehicle went down westbound on Madison. Oh man.
He was 34 years old, a Northside drill rapper tied to the Day World crew, and the attack was the same ambush style, a targeted hit where the child watched it all and walked away with his body fine, but his whole world flipped.
Whole bunch of people just like, damn, that Stacks and Guala, they just got hit up, bro. They shot up the car, Now my brother Guala, he hit like he hit like 5 times. But he good, cause this place he was hit at, he's like, he could tolerate it. But he down there like panicking, like he see me on the ground, but he like, damn, he don't know what to do. So this is what I'm seeing, and this is what I remember, you know what I'm saying? So that's to the point where he goddamn it, he seeing me on the ground, he running to the corner like trying to, I guess, get motherfuckers and play his part and shit. He coming back like, man, it's that woo, like whole bunch of people, all my homie them, my homie Ains, you know. My sister Kiki, then they come pull up on me like Stacks. You know what I'm saying? They all like, man, don't leave it, breathe, and shit like that. I'm on the ground like, at first I was good. At first I was like, okay, I'm cool, I'm good.
And get this, it wasn't even his first run-in with it. The year before, Stacks had already survived getting shot several times while he was leaving a funeral. He beat it once, and it came right back around for him on Father's Day. And just like TP, his killing is still unsolved with no arrests reported. One more open file and one more family stuck waiting for answers that may never come. Now, if you want to see the version of this with a different ending, look at FBG Duck. He got killed back in 2020 in the upscale Gold Coast area while he was out shopping, and the word is he was shopping for his young son. His name was a whole lot bigger than TP's, since he was one of the people who really put the drill sound on the map, and because of that, his case actually got solved. Federal prosecutors convicted 6 members of the O-Block gang in his death, and they got handed life sentences. So when you line those 3 up next to each other, the lesson is brutal. Duck got justice because the big cameras were on him, while Stacks and TP, the more local names, caught the same kind of death and got none of the same answers. The fame is basically what decided who got a courtroom and who got a memorial page, and that's its own kind of cruel. In the end, the streets keep circling back to the same ugly bottom line on TP. 2 watches went missing. The man who may have died for it likely never even touched them, and a little girl lost her father at the exact moment she was trying to make him proud.
You know, man, that was get back for that watch he took, basically. He stole.
So here's the real question I want you to sit with. When the streets decide somebody has to pay, and they go after a man who may have had nothing to do with the beef in the first place, where does the line even sit anymore? Drop your honest take down in the comments because I read them. And if stories like this hit you, tap the card on the screen right now to watch the next one.
Oh shit, we back at it. Okay. Grab your black gloves, it's time to step.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm in the crib and I'm by myself. I lost some niggas, you don't know how I felt. I got the drop on the op through tech. I'm on the way with a leather belt.
Sorry I lied, but the boy get nailed. Hang on his head to the dogs, I'm a shell.
I came downstairs with a Glock and a
I'll catch you there.